just one big story, isn't it?
Hi everybody, welcome to the Story Connection. I'm your host, Donna Wilberg. Now, Melissa Washington is a career expert who shares effective strategies for business owners and for job seekers. But what did it take, Melissa, to get to this height? Let's talk to her and find out. Welcome, Melissa.
Thank you so much for having me, Donna.
Well, this is going to be interesting. Now, you started out in the Navy.
Yes.
You served in the Navy. Let's start there and work our way forward to your success today.
Absolutely. So when I got out of high school, I was going to be a preschool teacher. I actually got my vocational degree in early childhood education, went to community college for a year, and then I joined the Navy. Mm-hmm. Joined the Navy, I traveled the world, met my husband, and then when I got out, I got married and married the military because my husband was in the Marine Corps at that time. So I transitioned into being a military spouse and traveling with my husband as we went to different duty stations, and just pretty much just finding what I wanted to do with, taking some of my experience that I had in the Navy and figuring out, okay, what do I want to do? So I got into sales and I did that. I also used my GI Bill and went and got my bachelor's degree in business management and marketing, so I was able to do that. And then I got involved in recruiting and did some recruiting, and I spent over 10 years in the recruiting industry, both in human resources and at a staffing company. Mm-hmm. And I did that. And 2008, we were in Southern California, and I was working in corporate America, climbing the corporate ladder, and my company offered me a relocation and a promotion to up here to a city called Rockland. Didn't really know much about Rockland.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yep, and we moved up here, and we bought a house and really started settling in, and I got laid off the next year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I mean, we all remember 2008, yeah. 2009, 2010. Yeah. I mean, the economy was just.
What were you doing? What kind of job?
So I was managing the contingent workforce program over at Oracle. So I was working at a staffing company where we were managing the contingent workforce there.
Okay.
But the thing was, when I got laid off, I knew about 5 people here. I didn't know really anybody because I really didn't establish a network. So during that time, I thought, okay, it'd be easy to get a job, but then I'm like, okay, the economy's not where it was. So it was end of 2009, so we get into 2010, and I'm like, okay, I've got to really start speeding it up, looking for a job, but there wasn't a lot of opportunity here in the area. And I saw an ad for a professional development job seekers group. So I'm like, okay, well, I need to get out there. I need to start meeting people. So I had went to this group and started meeting a lot of other people that were looking for work. A lot of people had a lot of experience that were out there. And one of the classes this was 5 years ago, how to use social media to find a job.
Oh. That's so big now.
It is. So you think about this 5 years ago, it's, they're talking about how you can use LinkedIn, how you can use Facebook, how you can use Twitter. And I've been on LinkedIn now for 11 years. So during this time I was sharing, well, you can do this with LinkedIn. So what happened was a lot of the job seekers came up to me after and said, hey, Melissa, can you show us how to use LinkedIn?
So now you are noted as the goddess of LinkedIn.
Absolutely. So it's just because a lot of people weren't really, they heard about this link thing, they probably call it different things. It's like, okay, how can I really use this social media platform to help me find a job? So I started holding classes at my table. I was collecting unemployment, so it's not like I could charge anyone for anything. And I was in the process of, at that time, and I didn't realize, I was in the process of career reinvention.
Yeah.
I was still going out there, submitting my resume, setting up interviews, trying to really find out, okay, what did I really want to do? Did I want to go back to doing what I was doing, looking at other opportunities here in the area? And so that pretty much led into where I was doing multiple classes. People started saying, hey, go see Melissa, she'll show you how to use LinkedIn. So yeah, I have literally a 2-hour workshop at my dining room table. I project my wall, I had a projector and project my LinkedIn profile on my dining room wall, and I would show individuals how they can use it. If they had a laptop, they brought it. Had some great success stories of people that, sat at my dining room table that really, took what I said to heart and really used it. So I did that, and then I also got involved with another group called Active Job Seekers of America, and was founded in 2009, where I became the president of the Roseville chapter, and then became the executive director, which I still am. So for the last 5 years, I'm the volunteer executive director of this group, where we provide support, employment, and networking opportunities for individuals that are looking for work. And back during that time, again, there was the unemployment. I mean, we're still, and there's still people unemployed, but it looked a lot different then. So I started to do that, and it's just, I spent I like to say I was working, I just wasn't getting paid. So I don't like to tell people I was unemployed. I was just like, I was, just working, just wasn't getting paid for what I was doing. And that's a lot of times people don't think when you are working, it takes a job, it's a job to get a job.
And sometimes that's when you feel like you can let your guard down and you learn the most, and you interact with other people who are in the same boat, and it gives you a different perspective on what it is you're doing, and you must be doing it because you love it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So, there's a difference when you're getting paid and when you're not getting paid for something you love doing.
Definitely, and that goes along with your passion. And it's the same thing. It's like, what is your passion? What do you really love doing? And for me, my passion has always been helping other people. And it's like, okay, how do you take that and how do you monetize that too? But I didn't even realize it at the time that I love doing this. I love doing these workshops. I loved helping other people. I love helping them with the jobs, because I was on the other side as a recruiter for so long. I've interviewed thousands of people, looked at thousands of resumes, during those 10 years, and now I'm on the other side looking for that. So what had happened was, during this having this group, was a lot of times people would ask me, okay, Melissa, what do I need to do to look for a job? Okay, I've done my resume. What else? So I'd always give them like the list of a few things that I kept writing them down. So after a while, I actually printed up a list of, the first was 5 things, which ended up almost being 30 things. And a lot of times people don't realize that these are things we have to do to look for work today. I would ask, do you have business cards? And they're like, no, why do I need business cards? Are you on LinkedIn? What is that? Have you identified what your brand is? No. Do you have your personal introduction that you call it, people call your personal introduction, your 30-second spiel, your elevator, they call it different things. And a lot of people just didn't have that identified, and still don't. So I was working a lot with the job seekers and helping them really identify that during that time. Plus it was helping me during that time. So all of 2010, I was just still figuring out, okay, what do I want to do? And just going out there, and it was a struggle. I went through some depression. I didn't realize it at the time, but I was grieving the loss of my job. Yeah. And a lot of times people associate grief with death. But it's not. Grief is so many other things, and it was just the loss of my identity and who I was, because we so identify ourselves with the job title, but we're so much more than just a job title.
And there's something about getting a paycheck.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Makes you feel worthwhile.
Oh, absolutely. We were, our debt was mounting. We wiped through our savings. I mean, it takes a lot, and and during that time, you're looking at 2009. There weren't a lot of home refinance programs, so we were trying to refinance our home, but we got denied because we had too much debt. There was a lot of programs like there are now to be able to help people like us. So I hit bottom. I mean, I did. But I appreciate. And I'm glad I did, because I appreciate even more what I have today. But also, I could understand and I could empathize and sympathize with others that are looking for work. I've been there. I know what that struggle is like. But I know what you need though to help you get out of that. And that's what I like to share with others. So
Well, that's great. And you're sharing it more, not just with the community, you're sharing it with people who are kind of outside of the box.
Absolutely.
So why don't you talk about that a little bit?
So with with LinkedIn, again, it's 5 years ago. Most people that are on LinkedIn are looking for jobs. Most people think, okay, if I'm on LinkedIn, it's because I'm looking for a job. So I thought, okay, I'm going to start my business. So I started in 2011. I started my own company. I said, you know what, I'm going to start charging for this. And then I realized that not just people that are job seekers, but small businesses, sales folks, recruiters, marketing, anyone that had interest in this networking would have interest in building a LinkedIn profile and using that. So I found that there was a market where I can charge for this, and there was interest. So that started to evolve, and it's continually evolving even to this day, as far as people want to understand how they can really utilize LinkedIn in networking. And I love getting up and sharing tips and different ways that people can use it, and that way they can, what I like to call, how can they harness the power of LinkedIn, because there's so much power in there. We just got to learn how they can harness that. So yeah, so I did that, and then my checklist that I wrote 5 years ago, it evolved into this book called Get Back to Work that I wrote last year. And I never thought I'd write a book. That was nothing ever thought in my plan, or even to be a professional speaker. Those are two things that have all happened because I got laid off.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
Wow. So you wrote the book about how to get back to work, smart and savvy real world strategies to make your next career move. That's incredible.
Absolutely. So it's not a big book, and the reason I wanted to be a practical guide. I wanted someone to be able to sit there, read the book, maybe a couple hours, and that can get tips off of each page. Because when you're looking for work, you got so many other things you've got going on, whether you've got your kids or your health or just trying to, keep the lights on. Nobody really wants to look through 400 pages. So I really wanted something that was practical and that they can apply immediately. And taking tips, not just about the resume. I mean, that's a small tool in your toolbox. And pretty much these are all the tools that one needs when looking for work. And I like to use the word work, not job, because there's different things that encompass work. It could be looking for the 9-to-5 job, or maybe you're looking for consulting, contracting, or starting your own business. You need all the same tools, which I talk about in my book, of building your brand. What is your brand? What does your online brand look like? So if you were to Google yourself, what does that look like out there? And a lot of people don't even think about that. Oh, these are things I need to think about. Networking. How do we offline network, and how do we online network, and using the social media tools? So a lot of those I talk about in my book. And chapter 9 is my longest chapter. It's LinkedIn, pretty much the nuts and bolts of how to set up your LinkedIn profile, from your settings to your profile, making sure you have a photo. You're 14 times more likely to be viewed if you have a photo. Having specific keywords so someone can find you on LinkedIn. So that's like the one piece of building it. Then once you build it, how do you use it?
Yeah.
And those are things I talk about in my workshop as well as in my book.
Now, do you find that social media is evolving as we speak?
Oh, absolutely. Even right now.
Yeah.
And I live in the social media world. I can't even keep up with everything. Absolutely. Something will change when we're done here. Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do you keep up with it?
I'm in it all the time, whether I'm on my phone using it or on the computer, and then I'm always teaching it. So you've got to keep up and read articles and just keep up with the different changes or better ways to utilize it, because I feel I'm a better trainer when I'm up to date on what's going on.
What do you see happening? Are we going towards a good direction when it comes to social media? Are we starting to, you were talking about robots for cameras. Are we starting to eliminate jobs because of social media?
There probably could be some jobs.
Yeah.
I mean, there are jobs being eliminated because of technology in general.
Right.
With that. So, some of it could be, but social media is also creating jobs.
Okay.
If you looked at 5 years ago, there was no such thing as a social media manager. There's, we've created jobs. You look at how many employees LinkedIn has hired since they started, or Facebook or Instagram. So it's actually creating opportunities for people, which is fantastic. So whether you're an entrepreneur or a programmer or a marketer, it's creating opportunity.
For someone who's not real tech savvy, is this something that's easily learned, or is it something that people walk away going, oh God, I'll never get this?
Well, with LinkedIn, a lot of times it's hard for people to navigate through it. A lot of people I come across have created a profile maybe 5 years ago, 4 years ago. It's like, okay, I created it and I've never done anything with it. Because it can be hard to navigate. But once I like to do hands-on workshops. So if you come to the workshop, you're like, okay, I get it. I get it now. And to be able to utilize it. I mean, social media, this whole thing, I mean, it's fundamentally transformed the way we all of us have communicate with each other. It's amazing.
Yeah.
What's out there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun too.
Yes.
It's great. Okay, so you also work with veterans.
Absolutely.
So that's such a wonderful direction to be going personally, and I'm sure in your heart. Talk about that.
So one of the things with veterans is I like to help with veterans pretty much from whether they need help more so on the employment or business, the professional side, and helping them because they need the same tools that everyone else does. And I honestly feel a lot of our transitioning military members aren't getting the right tools as they're transitioning out. So be able to help them with that. A lot of people call me the connector. They're like, oh, call Melissa. She'll know who to who to connect you with. So that's what I like to be. I mean, actually, even earlier today, I was on the phone with, he's a major in the Army. He's actually in Japan. And I was speaking with him because he's getting ready to transition out. He had found me actually on LinkedIn and wanted to ask me some questions. So just to be able to help him. Also, too, since I'm a woman, being a woman veteran as well as a military spouse, is helping women veterans that have served. The biggest thing we have with women that have served is they don't identify themselves as veterans. So with that, they're able to tap into the resources that are available for them. So the big thing is, when I speak to women, a lot of times I ask them, did you serve? Because if I ask if they're veterans, they may say no. Because a lot of times they don't feel if they haven't been in combat or they weren't overseas or different things that maybe someone has told them or they felt that they're not veterans. So I founded a professional women's group here in the Sacramento area for women that have served. We meet the third Thursday of every month. It's a fantastic group. It's amazing to get women from all eras, all branches, and the camaraderie that we have, that connection. It's there. And it's funny, one of the ladies said, I thought I was the only woman veteran here in Sacramento, but there's so many of us out there, and I just want to be able to help them get those connections and to be able to network there.
Talk about some of your success stories.
Some of my success stories. Well, one of the, as far as the LinkedIn training, one of the success stories that we had actually 5 years ago was John, who came to my dining room table and wasn't sure about this whole LinkedIn thing. Actually, he's even referenced in my book. And he's like, I don't know about this. How's this going to help me? He's mid-40s, was in sales for a long time. And most of the people he knew were like in the Midwest because that's where he did a lot of his sales. So he put together his profile, connected with people he worked with 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And just so happens the end of that year, a gentleman that he connected with, that he worked with over 10 years ago, had an opening in Sacramento as a brand new regional position.
Oh, nice.
But had John not connected with him, he would have never known that John was looking for work and that John was in Sacramento. So he started January the following year. But all because he connected with someone on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of those stories. We just need to connect with people. And you just never know who might be able to help you with that, whether it's finding that job or maybe it's connecting with somebody because you've got a great product or service that you want to connect someone with.
Yeah.
So yes, I love connecting with people on LinkedIn. Even I'm very particular about who I connect with. I'm a very much a quality connector person on there. I have to either know you or we have to have some kind of shared interest on LinkedIn for me to connect with you.
Yeah, that's kind of a question I had. What's the difference between, LinkedIn and Facebook?
Absolutely.
Talk about some of those things for people who aren't on LinkedIn.
Definitely.
So
a good way to look at LinkedIn is LinkedIn's the #1 online professional network. So just think professional. Think of LinkedIn as the business lunch. So everything there, it's professional nature. So then you've got your Facebook page, more of your personal Facebook page, which is more the backyard barbecue. So those are family, friends you're connected to that you would have in your backyard for a barbecue, but it's also stuff you would share, right, about your kids or your trip pictures, or where you're having lunch. That's more appropriate for Facebook to utilize that than LinkedIn. But LinkedIn, Facebook, of course, can also be used as you're looking for work or to build your business as well. So it's just utilizing this audience that you have there. And what's great about the internet and even social media, it's opened us up to a global world.
Yeah.
So it's not just here in Sacramento, it's global, where people you can connect with.
So LinkedIn is from what I remember, is more or less for when you're looking for a job or you want to put yourself out there as a professional. But how has it grown to be more of a platform for what you do?
Absolutely. So, several years ago, most people thought about, okay, if I'm on LinkedIn or I'm doing anything, people think I'm looking for a job. But it's only about a little over 30% of people on LinkedIn are actually looking for a job. Most people are utilizing LinkedIn to network, to research people into companies. So with LinkedIn, once you've created a LinkedIn profile, you've created an online brand. So if you were to go to Google yourself, your LinkedIn should be one of the top 3 search results, should be your LinkedIn profile. So it's an online brand. You know, it's not a resume. It's the online brand. If you take a look at it, more as a portfolio. And you know, a lot of people utilize LinkedIn to vet people that they're going to do business with or find out who they're connected to. LinkedIn just recently started where you can blog, where you can share articles on there. There's so much that's available on there, and I just get so excited when I get to share that with others about how they can utilize LinkedIn to, you know, whether to expand their business, to start their business, to really network with individuals.
It's amazing. Totally amazing. So you're feeling like you're kind of falling into your career path.
This is my career path. This is, you know, it's one of those things where I feel that there's been stepping stones. All of my previous positions have brought me to where I am today, and taking my, you know, my skills and abilities and to be able to use those to help others. And I honestly feel this is my calling. I mean, this is what I'm meant to do here. And I mean, that could change next year.
Yeah.
But I love that. I'm very much an entrepreneur. I'm very much kind of a risk taker, just want to do things. I'm actually getting ready to start a podcast. It should be launched in the next week or so.
Fun.
So I'm just, you know, I'm just doing all these things, but I love to do it, and it's all circled around my brand. And that's a key thing too for people, is to truly understand, how do you develop a brand? And that comes up all the time. It's like, okay, what is a brand? How do I develop that? And, you know, I kind of share what my brand is. It's the same, you know, when I share post or articles, it's going to be about LinkedIn. It's going to be about veterans. It's going to be about women. All that encompasses my brand and who I am. And I've created this. I mean, it wasn't my plan. This is kind of all just, it's happened. And it's been a very exciting ride. And I would have never honestly have thought this when I was, you know, unemployed.
Now, you were saying earlier that you're talking to high school students.
Yes. Yeah, I was just there yesterday speaking to high school students.
How does that feel, that you're, you know, you have the ability to direct and kind of shape and young minds? That's got to be such a rewarding
It was yesterday. I was a little bit usually I don't get nervous, but I was a little bit nervous because I didn't know how they were going to.
Because they probably know more.
Oh, yeah. And you know, for even to ask.
Let's talk about Wattpad.
Yeah. And a lot of them were very interactive. A lot of them were even had created LinkedIn profiles, and a lot of them really understood. Some of them didn't. But what I felt was the ones that didn't, they were going to go on there last night or today, and they were going to create a LinkedIn profile. And I told them, I said, you know what, if it doesn't apply to you today, I guarantee you, like in a year or two, you're going to say, I remember that lady who said we should get on LinkedIn. And that's my goal. When I go out to speak, I want to be able to inspire, motivate, and educate. And I really felt I did that yesterday, and I do that all the time. But just if there was just one kid, and I know that there was, it's like that got really excited because, you know, they can utilize it to help them find colleges. I mean, LinkedIn has a great section just for, you know, you could look up universities and you could follow those universities. You can reach out to alumni or students to be able to ask questions about the university. So there's so many, again, these untapped tools that people aren't even aware of that LinkedIn has.
That's fabulous.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, we're running short.
Yeah.
So why don't you give everybody your information so they know where to get hold of you?
Absolutely. So you can Google me, actually, if Melissa Washington, but my website's melissawashington.com. And my book is getbacktowork.biz, and all my contact information. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest. I'm all over there. So, and I'm very much a pay it forward person. So if you reach out to me, I'm always reaching back out to be able to help.
I love it. Well, let's give a little bit of information about the Story Connection.
The Story Connection airs the second and fourth Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our companion show, Paranormal Connection, airs the first and third Thursdays of each month. Each episode repeats the following Friday at 1:30 p.m. and Saturday at 5:30 a.m. You can watch these programs online at the same airtimes by going to accesssacramento.org and clicking Watch 17, or you can watch us on Comcast Channel 17 in the Sacramento region and on AT&T Channel 99. For information on upcoming shows and previous Story Connection guests, go to storyconnectiontv.blogspot.com. You can contact us at storyconnectiontv@gmail.com. And don't forget, join us on Facebook, become a friend, and become a fan.
So in the few minutes that we have left, what would you like to share with the audience?
That if you are in transition, whether it's a career transition, just any transition, just to keep positive. And one thing that I like to live by is to define your own success and don't compare yourself to others. And actually I have a sticky note on my monitor at home, because sometimes we get so sucked into that of, oh, so-and-so's doing that, or what my success is. And I think that's a key thing for people too, is what does success mean to you? Is it money? And mine is inspiring others. If I can inspire others, that's success to me. And one big thing too is, if you help others in your dreams will come true too.
Great. Where can people find your book?
My book is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble's online. Also locally, it's in Lincoln at the UPS store and at the Avid Reader at Tower. And I'm in the local author section.
Very nice. Well, great. It's been wonderful talking with you. I know I'm going to go look at my LinkedIn page and kind of, maybe update it a little bit. But if there's one piece of advice that you can give people about their LinkedIn account, what would that be?
Not have a skeleton profile. Have a photo. Have it complete. Also make sure it's spell check, because LinkedIn doesn't spell check. So have your summary, have your experience there on your profile, so somebody could find you. Yep.
Okay, well, for everybody out there, if you don't have a LinkedIn account, go get one.
Yep, LinkedIn.com.
There you go. And then look for Melissa Washington so that she can make sure that you're doing it right.
Yeah, there you go.
And
Absolutely.
read her book. This looks fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise, Melissa, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's been wonderful having you on the show.
Great, thanks.
All right. With that, we're going to thank our wonderful crew for volunteering their time. We've got Greg and Lisa, Laura and Ted, Laureen and Daniel. So everybody comes out, they give their time so that we can have programs like this on the air for you to enjoy and possibly learn from. So with that, we're going to say goodnight.